Hey guys, welcome to the Heart of David. Hope you guys are doing well today. I've been waiting a long time to do this video. I mean, not like I knew I was going to do this particular topics, but I'm glad I'm able to. I made a few videos already. You know what I did? I just said no. I don't want to. I don't want to put those out in a video editing way. One reason, because I didn't have enough time to do it. I'm finding myself not having a lot of time now because of all the things that I'm doing. I wanted to be able to stand up during the daytime. During the daytime, I make my videos here. Nighttime, I'm down there. And you know, one of the reasons, I'm not going to say, I don't do videos that try to get views. That's not me. I want to talk about real topics that people actually care about, and not Hollywood, all this type of stuff. This is about the story of Job. The actual story that I want to read you after I compare my own life. I've been waiting to do this video. I'm going to read you an article. It's a really good article. That may be in after this one. So this is a comparison that I feel. Who do I feel an association with? Job. I feel the things that I went through in my life are like him. Some very good things have happened in my life, and I'll get to that. I'll get to that. And I had to wait till I did some things first. Keep quiet, right? You know, when you're going about your life, you don't announce things to people before you do them. And I didn't want to do that. I'm not that well today because my stomach, it's like it's pinching. It could be a kidney stone. Probably is. I didn't have a good life, okay? Keep in mind that this is comparison to Job. In my autobiography, so I have an autobiography, I don't endorse it on here. But if you'd ever like to know where it is, I would show you where it is so you can look for yourself what my life was like. The physical and mental suffering that I went through in my life, the physical part was worse than Job. You're going to say, you can say whatever you want, you can just read my story. I'm going to attach at the end of this, and if you follow my videos, you've already seen this. I shouldn't be alive, part 1 to 4. And if you look at that, that was just part of my life. I didn't tell you everything else. You just can't go on and on and on, right? When I grew up, I didn't know I had autism. I didn't know a lot of stuff, mental health disorders associated with it. I just wasn't like other people. I had friends though, you know, it wasn't like I didn't have friends. You know, I watch him get cars, I watch him get homes, you know, I just didn't have a good life. I drank alcohol mostly on the weekends. I think it was probably 95% on the weekends, to drown my anxieties, social anxieties, all that type of stuff. And I just never had the confidence. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who I was. And it's no small thing not knowing you have autism. So when I got all my pain disorders, I went through some horrible stuff. I have to tell you this part first. I felt cursed in everything I did. I have 12 pain disorders, of which 8 of them are very painful. 4 of those are pain suicide diseases. I have the worst pain disorder on earth, called adhesive arachnoiditis. It makes my legs boil and burn and shock and stab. That's just one of them. I lost my ability to walk. I couldn't walk. Couldn't do all these things for like 10 years. That was for mobility, but it was much longer. I've had intractable pain for at least 20 years. And in those is 4 possible, and a lot of the time 3 acute abdominal pain disorders. Well, they cause pain. You know, like kidney stones, gallbladder attacks, splenic flexure syndrome. They're very, very hard to deal with, and to learn how to deal with them, learn what to eat, what to drink, all these things. I tell you, I absolutely felt cursed. I was in a spot where I wanted to die. And I believe that I deserved it. But God had other ideas. My mom died. Couldn't get along with my dad. I moved out here because couldn't get along. Then my life took a different turn. Despite me applying for MAID, medical assistance in dying, I missed it by a year. Like I could have got it a year after, but God had other ideas for my life. Just to give you a small idea of something, just one small part of my life, but it wasn't a small part. When I got really severe abdominal pain, I had to take opiates for the type of pain I have in my body. And sometimes it's so bad I can't think, and when you see me when I stop, a lot of the time it's my abdomen, it's the pain. That they stopped working after I got a certain injury on my abdomen. All of a sudden opiates started not working. I'm like, you know, like they would stop after 2 or 3 weeks of usage. And the only way to regain that analgesic effect was to withdraw all the way. I would do an acute withdrawal. Acute opiate withdrawal. Methadone, morphine, OxyContin, oxycodone, all of those things. 112 times I did that. From the beginning to the end, then I would reinstate it. I spent about 5 years of my life in a pure state of withdrawal. So you say, I don't know what it's like, Job. I don't think Job went through anything like that. And I'm not trying to make that comparison. I'm trying to tell you I've been through hell. I still believed in God, but at that point I didn't know a lot about the Bible. I just knew I believed in Jesus Christ and all that type of stuff. I hope this helps you, because if I can succeed, anybody can succeed. Just give me a second here, because my abdomen really does hurt. All you have to do is, okay, I'll get to that. Ever since I moved in here, it was solving one problem after the next. Some pretty horrible stuff. I had to learn life quickly, man. With 12 unknown, I didn't even know what my pain disorders were. If my life wasn't bad enough, it was me, but it was God behind me. Can you imagine having to bring all your pain diagnosis, all your studies, to a physician to tell them what you have? Well, that's what I did. And I got all but about one diagnosis. It doesn't make that diagnosis incorrect, because I know what it is. It's just problem solving ever since I got in this place. And it's really helped me. trying to think of things that have happened. You heard what Moderna did to me. I'm not going to say more than that. I've been through a pathway of hell. You know that I'm well. In person, it was only 3 times I met this narcissist. But, I spoke to them for like almost 2 years on the phone every single day. And they were about to discard me, but I discarded them first. It was from that. You know the hell you go through after that. To understand that person never even cared about you at all. No love, no nothing. That made me realize I have good perception, but I ignored those red flags because I was lonely. I was in a bad state. It made me recognize who I am, to accept who I am. It made me realize that I don't give a damn what that person or whoever else says about me, and that's the point that you have to reach. Become indifferent, but don't take that love away. I don't mean that. There's a lot of people doing videos out there that have no love at all, saying don't date anymore, don't do this, and that is what's happening out there. But damn. Just give me a second, guys. It's my rabbit. He's trying to tip over his litter box. Why do you do this when I start talking? Sorry. I should have known that ahead of time when you talk, when you're not paying attention to him. He is a good rabbit, though. In this video, I'm doing this in extreme discomfort in my abdomen, so it feels like I have a stapler on each corner of my stomach, okay? It's not easy to do these videos. I learned who I was. I learned to put up my boundaries and not give a damn what people think about me. Because at the end of the day, what do they matter to me? And what does their judgment have anything to do with me? The only person who judges me is Christ, is God the Father. So you can watch those parts if you want at the end. I don't have time to read the article, but that will come in the next video. Through a lot of work, and I'm not going to say it wasn't me. I'm going to tell you I've been able to develop, websites and work, as much as I can, right? Do a lot of things. Get my apartment in my own name, and God was behind every single thing. Do you know when I moved out here? I had no need for I didn't have a phone. I didn't even have a credit card. I didn't have a credit card. Do you know what the bank made me do? They made me, I went to Capital or whatever it is, and I had to build up credit. And then I built up credit to a point where my credit's really good. By God. I'm going to read you something in a second. In my book, at the beginning of my book, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to get to the good. At the beginning of my book, there's, they give you where you can quote. I do it through Amazon. I forget what it's called. Amazon Select. Behold, happy is Job 5:17. Behold, happy is the man whom God corrects. Therefore, do not despise the chastening of the Almighty. That's at the beginning of my book. I never endorse it. I never do any of that. But if you'd like to read it, I would show you. There's a lot more to add to it because of the time I did it. So all of a sudden, I get my credit. I get this place in my name. I get all my diagnosis. It's like I know God's behind this. I'm starting to feel salvation. And this is when I was looking into the Bible and starting to study and do all these things. Then one day, my spirit quickened. Well, people say, well, you're not saved already because you believe in Christ? I don't know what to say. Just one day I realized what sin was, what it does, the destructiveness of it. It was like I could see it outside of the box. That's why Jesus says, if you look at a woman, remember, you know that, right? I don't look at a woman more than twice. I'm very careful about what I do in my life to never go towards things that are not good for me anymore. And I'm not saying to people not to go into relationships. Okay? Just give me a sec. For 6 years I've been working out every single day, push-ups, dips, without fail, walking twice a day without fail, getting in shape, doing things that are good for me, eating foods that, although they make me sick a lot of the time, they're healthy foods because I don't really have that many choices of foods. I only have about like 15% of choices of foods because of my abdominal disorders. So I'm like, I want to drive again. I studied and I went and I got my G1 again. I had my license 20 years ago, but it was suspended because of a medical reason. So I get that. I start driving. I'm like, the very first time I drive, I'm like, I can drive way better than I was back then. God is with me. Start enroll and accepted in the university, 4 years. Hope it goes to Master of Counseling after that. God willing. And then I'm all of a sudden in an odd, like in graduated license, not the, car training, right? Like you attend 30 hours type thing and you do like 10 hours in car to bring down the times that, lowers your insurance and does that. Join that. So school, driver's ed. I go do my, I'm not well today in my abdomen, unfortunately. So I go do my test. I can't afford a car with maintenance and all that stuff. And I'm like looking into stuff like, you can rent cars and actually, like when you have your full license, you can do that. But sometimes it actually equals to be cheaper because you don't have to pay for maintenance and stuff like that. I just don't have the money right now anyways. My goal is to do university and be able to have a career at 45 years old. I'm 46 in November. You can do it. Just study. Just learn. Force yourself. You want to get your car license? Read the book. Go to the center. Take the test. So when I went there, I'm like, I could have written my motorcycle license. I'm like, I wonder if that would be a cheaper way for me to get around. And I was, had conversations with my brother, and we go on walks and stuff like that, and he's talking about, street bikes and stuff. He's like, I wish I had one this year or something like that. And I decided I'm gonna study for it. I'm gonna go get my M1. So I spent about 2 weeks, and I did that, and I got my M1 yesterday. So I have my motorcycle license now. That only lasts for 90 days. It expires because you have to write it. You have to take your M2, which is like a test, like just like a driving test, but on a bike. but where I live, they won't insure like people with M1, even though it says you can go out on the streets anywhere. I think it's below 80 kilometers an hour. Like, how am I going to do this? And I'm like, I've saved up money, just enough money. I'm like, I'll buy a bike. I went out and I bought a bike, Kawasaki Ninja 400 ABS. I won't say much more about that, but it's new. Saved up a long time for that. And I can be riding it next month. I will be riding it next month. It's hard to look at my life. Just one sec. See? I've got all the clothing, I've got everything. I just want to say this, that everything started to fall into place. Even though I studied real hard for that test, believe me, I want to get off this video right now because of my abdominal pain. I went there, I'm like, I did my G1. I called before I left, I'm like, do I really have to do all the road signs? I could ace the road signs, but the rules, like the demerit points and all those, because I wrote my G1. They're like, you have to. I go to the center yesterday. I said the same thing at the desk, and the woman said, well, I'll check. And she said, no, you have to do it. And everywhere I looked on the internet said you had to do that. They shouldn't have that rule if you passed your G1, right? Because it's the same rules. So I was worried about not getting something right, like in the demerit points, like questions that throw you off that don't even really matter. So I get into the room to write my exam, right, my test. And then the guy at the front desk says, okay, you just have to do your M. And I'm like, okay. I walk to the computer. I'm like, am I only going to get the M questions? I go on the computer. It's just the 24 questions. I'm like, wow. I got one wrong. So I passed. Shouldn't have even got that wrong, but I knew in that moment that God was with me. You have to understand where I was to understand how I feel now. I made some videos, I didn't put them out, I didn't feel like I wanted to. I really haven't had time to edit stuff. But what do you do when God starts to exalt you? You be humble. Don't think anything more of yourself than... And you know what? I'm also accepting a university. I'm just waiting for some stuff. Don't stop your life because of what's happening in the world. That's a conclusion I've come to. You're going to stop everything? You're just going to wait? I could have been over a year of university already if I would have listened to what someone said to me. Just be humble with everything. Don't think you're more than anything than you are. Always be good to people. Just give me a sec, guys. So, I mean, they should let people drive around with M1 insured. They should insure people. I start looking around, I'm like, it's almost impossible to get insured these days with a Kawasaki Ninja. And that's nice. They are not that expensive, by the way. I'm not going to say a price. So I'm like, just, hoping that I could somehow do it. I also signed up for a 2-day course at Riders Institute. It was just like, you just go, it's like 8 hours a day. That was one of my first steps towards motorcycle. There was only 8 spots left because those things are booked. And it's like in October. So I knew it was one of the last places. It's pretty expensive. I said, if I don't pay for this, because this is a way that you get your M2, where you can go ride anywhere you want, and then you get your M after 5 years. A lot of experience you need. I'm like, everywhere I look, I'm Reddit, Quora, and just Google, nobody's insuring. It's like $5,000 a year. $5,000 a year. But because I signed up for the riding program, today I phoned, and this person said they will a month before that program. So I'll have a month before it. Then I'll do that course, and then I can do my M2 right through them. All I want to say is this: if you're genuine towards God in everything you do, I'm not going to say the same things are going to happen to you, but if you put your trust in faith, you'll see. That also means that you have to be willing to push your own self. Sometimes it's just about saying, yes, I will do this, or pay this, so I have no choice. I bought that bike, so I knew I would have to do everything else. This was all these things. This is not an idol to me. A motorcycle, it's not an idol to me. I'm not looking at it in that way. I'm looking at it as transportation. My stomach, man. It feels like there's a nail in it. It was God who did this. Do you understand? Can you understand why I feel my story is right alongside with Job? I didn't have anyone die. My mother died. I didn't have my whole family like that. God has blessed me beyond what I thought was possible. You also have to put yourself out there and accept some things. You have to find out who you are. Anyways, guys, I can't read that because it's also going late into my night, so see my gloves? So I can't wait to ride. Can't wait to ride. And it was all because of God. There's more to this story, but I'm not willing to say everything on camera. God bless.